Hello everybody, my name is Kelly Hammonds. I'm an independent maker with Close to My Heart. I want to welcome you to today's Mega Make and Take event. If you're looking in your box, this is the packet that you're looking for. And while you're looking for that, I'm going to just go over the flyer that is inside your bag while you're pulling everything out. I am offering a $10 free product of your choice when you spend $50 or more. Spend $100 or more and I'll give you $25 in free product. Once you place your order, I will reach you by email and you can tell me what you would like for the $10 or the $25. I have one shopping site, that's 𝐂𝐸hammonds.com. When you go to that website, you'll have an option to either go to my Close to My Heart website or my exclusive site, where I have a number of retired products. I have products that have been bundled together. I have pre-orders for future catalogs. So whatever you need that is not on the Close to My Heart website, you'll probably find at my independent store, my exclusive store. On the other side of my flyer is our VIP customer program. If you're not a part of this program, you really want to be. This program started this past fall, and you join up for $35 for 1 year, and with that $35 through end of this year, Close to My Heart will give you $25 in immediate product credit. I'm going to give you another $10 in product credit for a free paper pack, so your cost is netting at zero. Every time you shop, you'll earn a 15% product credit that will be banked, and you can use it on your next purchase, or you can save it up for a larger item or a more expensive item. Your product credit is good as long as you're a VIP member. So if you're a member for 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, your VIP credit never expires. When you shop each month, if you spend $50 or more, each month you can earn one free stamp of the month. And there's a lot of other perks as well. If you take a look at the flyer, I'm going to send you a free petite perk each new catalog. You'll get free catalogs when you order from Close to My Heart, and it's a win-win situation. Even if you shop once, being a VIP program is totally, in the VIP customer program, it's totally worth it. Okay, so let's get started on our project. So hopefully by now you have found this bag. Let's take everything out. Well, let's take a look first at what we're making. How about that? While you still got your items to find. So this is the layout that we are making. I know that you're looking at it and going, this has got to be the strangest layout I have ever seen. But at the end, I'm going to explain why I chose this program after we're done putting it all together. And hopefully you will see the value in this alternative looking layout. Okay, now let's take everything out of our bag. We'll go through it together to make sure you have everything. Okay, so the flyer. So in no particular order, you should have, and probably in its own bag, this is our Jingle Joy paper pack and compliments that we're using. So these are the compliments. These are some alphabet stickers and some 4x6 and 3x4 cards that we're going to use. This is from our Story by Stacy line. You should have one sheet of our Jingle Joy bulk paper. Okay, so it's got the black and white crosshatch on the back, trees on the front. One sheet of raspberry cardstock, one sheet of black, and one sheet of clover. Okay, then finally we have our page protectors over here, and the bag that everything came in, this is actually our memory protector combo pack that you can purchase, and it comes just like this, just the page protectors themselves, but you will have one 12x12. You will have a 8.5x11 page protector, which we do sell separately if you do 8.5x11 scrapbooking. Then we have our Pocket Plus. This one has 4x6 horizontal. 3 of them you can see there, hopefully. There's also the Pocket Plus that does the 3x4 horizontal. And then finally we have our 6x6 page protector, which also you can buy these separately. All these items you can buy on their own, or you can get one of these combo packs. So let's set our page protectors aside for now. And actually we're going to work with cutting our paper first. So we'll move all this other stuff too out of the way. Okay. And we are going to start with our tree paper. Okay. Okay, so the first piece we're going to cut is our tree paper. It's got the trees on one side, the black and white cross pattern on the other side. And the nice thing about our pattern paper is this 1/2 inch at the top. So our paper is true 12 by 12 with an extra 1/2 inch. I like this because it lists the colors that are in my pattern papers. The great thing about Close to My Heart is everything coordinates, so I know exactly what colors from our 43 color palette to use to coordinate with this paper. So you can see it's got the black, the clover, and the raspberry listed, but also the evergreen, flamingo, pebble, and white daisy. So when you flip it over, the other side then actually gives you a little more pattern paper that you can use with your scrapbooking or your card making, which we're going to actually take advantage of today. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut that 1/2 inch strip off. Okay, so just cut that off. So it's about 1/2 inch. You can just line it up in your trimmer so it doesn't have any of the black and white on it. And we're going to cut that then at 10 inches because we are going to use it in our project today. So the small piece, the 2-inch piece, we're going to put aside. And this piece, which is now 10 inches. So I cut the 1/2 inch strip off my 12 by 12 paper and then cut it down to 10 inches. Okay. Next, we're going to take our tree paper, flip it back over so you can see your trees. We're going to put it in our cutter so that the trees are on their side, and we're going to cut off a 4-inch strip. So 4 inches, 12 by 4. Just a very simple 4-inch cut off the top or the bottom of the paper, doesn't matter where. So 4 inches by 12. Then we're going to cut another piece. We're going to cut this at 6 inches. So now we are 6 by 12. From this 6 by 12 piece of paper, we are going to cut off a 10-inch strip. So now I am 6 by 10 horizontal, and set that piece aside. Now we're going to take this smaller piece. It's 2 inches wide. We're going to cut it down to 1.5 inches. Okay, so you got your trees going tall, 1.5 at the top, 6 on the side. I cut the 2-inch rectangle into a 1.5-inch rectangle. And we're going to add that to the pile of keep pieces. Then we have this piece that's left. We're going to cut it at 8.5 inches. Smaller piece we're going to set aside, but this piece is now 8.5 inches wide. We're going to turn it on its side, and we're going to cut 2 pieces that are 3/4 of an inch. So 3/4 of an inch, you're going to cut 2 of them. So now these are 8.5 by 3/4, 0.75. Okay, 3/4 of an inch, 2 of them. And we're going to keep those. Then this little piece that should be 1/2 inch wide, thereabouts, we're going to cut it down to 8 inches. So we've taken this leftover piece that was 8.5 inches long and cut it down to 8 inches. Okay, this little piece in our scrap pile, this piece we're going to keep. Now, take out the largest piece that we've cut here. It's 6 by 10 inches. Okay, 6 by 10 inches. We're going to put it back in our trimmer, and we're going to put it in at about 8 inches. So over here I'm measuring 8 inches. Doesn't have to be precise, but we're going to cut a piece out of this piece of paper to use in another part of our layout today. So I want a piece that is 4.5 inches by 1/2 inch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up 4.5 inches. Oops. And then I'm going to move it in my trimmer down 1/2 inch. 1, 2, 3, yep, 1/2 inch, and go up 4.5 again. And then I'm going to cut that piece out of my paper. Whoops. We're going to connect all the lines so that it actually cuts out here. Didn't cut it all the way across. Didn't cut down far enough. This is where your scissors might come in handy if you didn't get an exact cut. Okay, so yes, we have a 6 by 10 piece of paper that has a 4.5 by 1/2 inch strip cut out of it. Okay, so this little piece is 4.5 by 1/2 inch. So what I did was I put my paper in my trimmer at about 8 inches. And I cut up to 4.5 on my trimmer. I found 4.5 on my trimmer here and cut straight up. Then I came over 1/2 inch and I cut up to 4.5 again. Okay, so that gives me my height. Then I turned my paper, I measured it at 4.5 and I cut that little piece out. Okay, so one more time, put it in at 8 inches, cut up to 4.5 on your trimmer. Just look at your trimmer where 4.5 is. Then move it down 1/2 inch, cut up to 4.5 again. Okay, up to 4.5 again, and then turn it, measure it to 4.5, and just cut between those two lines so that you get a 4.5 by 1/2 inch piece. We're actually going to use the black and white side of that piece. Okay, so set all of those aside and now take out your cardstock pieces. Okay, now we're ready to cut the rest of our cardstock. Let's start with the clover piece. And we are going to cut it at 8 1/4 by 10 3/4. So 1/4 inch smaller than 8.5 by 11. So cut it at 8.25, 8 1/4. By 10 3/4. Okay, so 8 1/4 by 10 3/4. 8.25 by 10.75. Okay, and we're going to set it aside. With this piece that's left, we're going to cut off a piece at 6 inches. 6 inches, and cut it down to 2 inches. So we end up with a rectangle that is 6 by 2. 6 by 2. This piece, which is pretty close, it's a 1/4 inch off, is going to be in our scrap pile, but this piece is 6 by 2 out of the clover. 6 by 2. And then with this last piece, we're going to have a 3 by 4 piece. So you can cut it down to 3 inches by 4 inches. 3 by 4. 3 by 4 rectangle. Everything else left over goes in our scrap pile. Okay, so we've got for our clover 8.25, 8 1/4 by 10 3/4. We have a piece that is 6 by 2 or 2 by 6, and a piece that is 3 by 4. Next, we'll take out the black. We only have one piece to cut out of the black. and it's going to be 8.5 by 11. 8.5 by 11. So 8.5 by 11. The other two pieces you can put over here in your scrap pile. So 8.5 by 11. Next we have our raspberry piece. While you're pulling that out, I failed to mention a little earlier that all of our cardstock, except for the black, the white, and the French vanilla, is two-toned. So it's the lighter hue on the back. So when you pulled this out, you may have noticed that maybe your green wasn't as bright as mine, but if you turn it over, you can see why, because it is a lighter hue on the back side. So take out your raspberry. We're going to cut off a 1/2-inch strip. Actually, I think yours already came with a 1/2-inch strip. You may not have the full piece of raspberry, so I could be wrong about that. We packaged these up quite a while ago, so you may already have the 1/2-inch strip. In fact, I know you do. So you don't have the full piece of raspberry, you have the 1/2-inch strip. But what I did fail to mention is that you have 2 pieces of white daisy cardstock. So I apologize for the confusion. You don't need to cut the raspberry piece, you already have it. Did that for you. But we do need to cut our white daisy cardstock. So with the first sheet, we're going to cut it at 8.5 by 11. 8.5 by 11. Okay, white daisy 8.5 by 11. The rest of it we can put aside. So keep the piece that's 8.5 by 11, and then a piece that is 6 by 6. Okay, this piece is 6 by 6. So the first white piece is 8.5 by 11. The second one is 6 by 6. Now the rest of this white daisy, if you would like, this is yours to keep. But for my projects, anywhere that there's a picture, I've put a piece of white cardstock. I have not given you the white cardstock because this is where you're going to put your photo or your journaling. So everywhere that I have white for a photo or for journaling, you don't have specific cut instructions for those. For example, you can see here we're going to do 2 4x6s. I didn't include the white paper for that. However, if you would like to use your leftover white cardstock to cut up some of these 4x6s for placement purposes, you can. But I did not give you enough white daisy for where your photos actually are going to go. Okay? So you can use some of the leftovers for that if you want, or like me, I'm just going to put them in my scrap pile. Okay, now we are ready to assemble. So we are going to start with our 8.5 by 11 piece, this one right here. So we're going to take out our black, that's 8.5 by 11, our clover, which is slightly smaller. Okay, next for this tree strip down here. So if I cover some of this up, for this tree strip down here, remember we had 3 long strips of tree paper. 2 of them are 3/4 wide by 8.5. It's not those, it's the shorter strip. So it's the one that's 1/2 inch by 8. Okay, so we've got our piece of black, our piece of green, and our smaller tree strip. And if you remember my previous Mega Makin takes, I'm the messy scrapbooker, so please be patient with me. So let's take our favorite way to adhere. I like my Tombow tape runner, and we're going to adhere the green to the black. And I chose the dark side up. Of course, you can do it either way. And we're just going to glue these two together. And it's just going to center all the way around. There we go. And then we're going to adhere this piece where it's equal distance all the way around as well. Okay. The tree piece is going to go at the bottom. It's going to have about a 1/4 inch all the way around, but it's going to be centered on all 3 sides about the same. Okay. Now we're going to add the rest of this in a few minutes when we go to put it in our page protector, but let's move on to just getting rid of this pile of pieces and make them into actual pages. So we're going to set that one aside. Now we have the back side. We're going to take that 8.5 by 11 white piece, and then those 2 tree strips that I talked about just a few minutes ago, and we're going to adhere one at the top and one at the bottom. So take out the 8.5 by 11 white piece of cardstock and the 2 3/4 inch by 8.5 inch strip of tree paper, 2 of them, one at the top, one at the bottom. Hopefully I'm in frame here for you. One at the top, one at the bottom, and flush on all sides. Okay, so I have a white piece of paper. We've got 8.5 at the top, 8.5 at the bottom, 3/4 of an inch strip. Very simple. We'll do the rest of the embellishing when we get to putting them into the page protector. Okay, the next piece we're going to do, maybe we can see this a little better if I flip it like this. We're going to do this 6 by 6. So we're going to take out our white 6 by 6. We have our 2 by 6 piece of clover paper, and we're just going to adhere it to the side, to the left side. So take that 2 by 6 clover cardstock and let's adhere it to the left side. Okay. So that's the front of our 6 by 6. We're going to put a photo here, and then we're going to flip it over. Okay, and we have that tall strip of trees. Okay, he is 1.5 by 6 inches, and literally I took this piece, flipped it over, and I'm going to glue it to the left-hand side. So 1.5 by 6 piece of tree paper on the back side, okay, the back side of the white, flip it over and put it on this side. Flush on the left side. And then remember this little piece that we cut out of here? And I told you we were going to use the black side, black and white side. We're going to adhere it to the bottom. So this is that little 1/2 inch by 4.5 inches. It looks like trees on one side, so if you can't find it, flip it over. It's black and white on the other side. We're going to adhere it to the bottom. Okay, so this is the back side of our 6 by 6. This is the front side, the 2 by 6 piece of clover. Flip it over. We've got our 1.5 by 6 piece of trees. At the bottom, the 1/2 inch by 4.5 inch black and white pattern, crosshatch pattern. Okay, now we can set this piece aside. Now we are going to do this piece right here. Okay, now we're ready to put together the 12 by 12 scrapbook page. So what I want you to get out is you should have one more piece of white daisy cardstock that hopefully you have not cut into. We cut into the first 2, but not the last one. We're going to need that 4 by 12 tree paper. Okay. We're going to need that strip of raspberry paper that was already pre-cut for you. We need your 10 inch by 1/2 inch zip strip, which has the green background with the white stars. Has the name of the paper pack on the back with the colors. And then we're going to need the tree strip that we cut the chunk out of. Okay, so we're going to flip that piece over. We're going to use that side of that. We're going to use the tree side of the 4x12. I'm going to use the light side. I'm going to use the light side of the raspberry. You can choose because both tones, both hues are in the paper pack. You can see with the trees, a little bit of flamingo, a little bit of raspberry, and a little of something in between. And then the green strip. Okay, so let's start by putting the tree strip at the top of our page, flush with the top. Watch the direction of your trees to make sure that when your paper is oriented the right way, that your trees are upright to the top. Okay. Then directly underneath that, again with the raspberry, I'm going to use the lighter side. You can choose to use the dark side if you would like. And we're going to put that right underneath the trees. That's the raspberry strip that we included in your packet for you. Then we're going to take the piece with the black and white crosshatch, and I want to attach this. It's going to be about 3/4 of the way up from the top of the pink strip, the raspberry strip, and about 1 inch on each side, because if you center it, it should be about 1 inch on each side. So I'm going to eyeball that. And then finally we'll take the zip strip and we're going to attach it to the bottom of that last piece we put on that black and white crosshatch. Okay, so again, we've got the 4x12 at the top with the trees. We've put the raspberry directly underneath it. Then we've put our black and white crosshatch piece of paper that has the piece of paper cut out of it, the rectangle cut out, about 3/4 of an inch from the top of the pink, centered side to side, about 1 inch on each side. I'm a little off, I can see on this side, but it's all good. Got a little adhesive on there. And then we put down that green strip, that zip strip from the top of our tree paper. Bit of adhesive on my, a little messy there. Okay, so now we're going to work backwards and we're going to start attaching all of our die cuts. Okay, so here's our die cuts. So get your die cuts out. That's the black and white die cut piece. Okay, it looks like this. And we're going to go ahead and punch out Merry Christmas. Of course, you can do yours any way you would like, but if you'd like to follow along how I did mine, we're going to need the Merry Christmas, the tag at the top that says Holly Jolly, and the one next to it that has the tree. Now these are really attached well, these die cuts. They're not falling out anywhere, so I'm going to go ahead. I don't like hanging chads here, so I'm going to go through and trim up the little knobs where they were attached. It's just personal preference. You don't have to if you don't want to. The other thing you'll notice is that there is a punch out for the hole for the tags. that you can choose to leave in there, or you can punch it out. You could always take some of the scraps that we have left over from our papers and make little paper ribbons. Or you could, if you have some ribbon of your own that you'd like to use, that would be cute too. I'm going to leave mine in. So what I want to do now that I've got my 3 tags all cleaned up a little bit is I'm going to attach the Merry Christmas at the top. Oops, kind of centered a little bit here. And then you've noticed I've got a big hole here. I'm sure it's bothering some of you, but if you look at my original here, let's pull it out here. I've put my photos on top of the black and white crosshatch. And so my photo is going to cover that hole up. I do this a lot in my scrapbooking to save paper or to get the most out of my paper. The nice thing about this is you could put 2 4x6s. You could put a larger picture, a 5x7. You could probably even get a 6x8 in here, as 6x8 would work. So yeah, something larger, or if you want a bunch of little ones, either any of that would work for you. So, but what I want to remember to do is when I put these tags down, pull this back out again. When I put these tags down, I don't want to put adhesive where my photo is going to be, so I can slide my photo in later. So for the Christmas tree tag, I'm going to put adhesive down this left side, this right side, and at the bottom, because I want to leave this side open. So when you flip it over to put your adhesive on it, keep in mind that you want to be able to put a photo in later. I'm going to put him a little bit at an angle here. Oops. Well, you got to remember to push him down too. There we go. And then the same thing for the Holly Jolly. I don't want to put any adhesive on this upper left-hand side, so I'm going to run the adhesive down the right and on the bottom. Hate when my adhesive gets towards the end because it doesn't want to come out as easily. Okay, so here is our 12 by 12 page. And we'll set him aside. And now we're going to move on. We're going to skip the Pocket Plus pages for now. Okay, but we're going to move on to our 6 by 6. So on our 6 by 6 page, we're going to get the Jingle Bells tag, pull it out. It's the one in the upper left-hand corner, and trim it up. If you want to, you don't need to. I know some people pop them out and stick them right down and happy campers. So it's all personal preference. Again, you can see on this one, I punched out the hole, but you can choose not to. And you're going to adhere this on the 6 by 6. I didn't mention that. Pull out the 6 by 6. It's got the trees on one side with the black and white cross hatch at the bottom. On the other side, it's got the green stripe, the clover piece of paper 2 by 4. And on the back side where the trees are, just go ahead and glue that down to the Jingle Bells right onto the 6 by 6. This is going to be a journaling page, so we don't really have to worry about exact placement or where you put your adhesive. Okay, next we're going to do the front of it, and we're going to attach the Ho 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 Santa, so punch that out. I'm going to clean mine up again. Personal preference. Now here you can see that I've punched the hole out. You could opt not to if you don't want to. We are putting a photo on the side, so when you put the adhesive on, make sure that you don't put it right under the right-hand bottom of your tag, so you can still slip your photo in. Okay, and go ahead and glue that down. I put it a little bit at an angle. So then our finished 6x6 has our jingle bells on the back and our Ho 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 Santa on the front. And next we're going to move along to our 8.5 by 11. So you have two pieces for it. You've got the one piece with the black and the green with the trees at the bottom. Find that piece. And then I also want you to get out your storytelling cards, the 4x6 cards and the 3x4 cards. We don't need the sticker sheet yet, but go ahead and get those cards out. Okay, so while you're looking for the cards, let me tell you about the cards. These cards are from the Story by Stacy line, the storytelling pack. And when I tell you a little bit more about why I chose this project that I chose, you'll appreciate these maybe a little bit more. These are great for journaling prompts or additional photos. So you have 6 that are 4x6, 4, 5, 6, and 6 that are 3x4. You'll notice on the back, unlike our PML cards, they are blank on the back. Okay, they are one-sided, so they are not, repositional, horizontal, vertical, that way. But we're going to make them the way we want them. So I want you to pull out the 5 things card that's 3x4, 3x4 5 things card, the one that has a darker gray rectangle and a white square in it, that's 3x4. We want to keep those. We don't need the curious card or the round circle card or the one that has the half circle. So you can set those aside. We're not going to use those in this project, but we are going to use the connected one. We're going to use the Remember card and the 4x6 and the Tradition card. Spread these up so you can see them. We're going to use the Change card and I believe the Love card. So the Change card we're going to use, the Remember card, the Tradition card, and the Love card. We will not be using this one that has the tag, or I'm not going to be using, if you want to do your project the same as mine, or the one with the grids. Okay, so we've got the 4x6 cards and the 3x4 cards. Let's get our trimmer out. Let's go ahead and prep these cards. We should have done this at the beginning, but it's all good. So let's start with the Remember card. This is 4x6, but we're going to use it as a 3x4. So I'm going to put it in my trimmer on its side and cut it at 3 inches. So that now I've made it a 3x4 card. Okay, so it starts out 4x6. We chop it in half. It's a 3x4 card. And we'll put the extra grid paper to the side. We won't be using it. Okay, so that's the Remember card. We're not going to chop up this card, so you can put it aside. The Connected card, we're going to cut and make it a 3x3 square. So it's already 3 side to side, it's 3, but it's 4 tall. So we need to take a 1/2 inch off the top, 1/2 inch off the bottom. So put it in your trimmer on its side, 1/2 inch off the top, 1/2 inch off the bottom, so that it's a 3x3 card. Okay. Set it in our pile, keep pile. Our 5 things card we do not need to cut. Our Tradition card, this 4x6 card, we're going to cut it in half. We're going to make it a 2x6 card. So we're going to put it on its side and cut it at 2 inches so that it's now 2x6. So 4x6, we cut it in half and made it 2x6. Okay, we're going to leave the Love card alone, And with the change card, we're going to change it into a 3x4 card. So it's 4x6. We're going to put it on its side. We're going to cut it at 3 inches. Cut it right in half. So went from a 4x6 to a 3x4. We don't need the extra white piece. You can set it aside. Then also it's going to be helpful. If you remember before I said, you know, the white daisy, extra white daisy cardstock that we had, I think it will be useful if we cut at least one 4x6 piece. And I can show you, you'll see in a few minutes why this is going to be helpful. So let's do one 4x6 white daisy. So pull out of your scrap pile. Should have a big strip that is 6x12. Cut out one 4x6. And I'm just going to look and double check that that should be all the additional cutting that we need to do. Okay, so just to recap, we've got our cut down change card, our cut down tradition card, our cut down connected card, our cut down remember card, and then we have these that we didn't alter at all, the 5 things. The gray one that's got the darker gray rectangle with the white square, and then the love card. Okay, so we're just going to set these aside because we're going to be adding these. Oh, I'm sorry, and then one 4x6 white daisy. So we're going to set these aside, and we are going to use these in our Pocket Plus page protectors. So let's start with the one that has the 4 3x4 pockets in it, our Pocket Plus page protectors. And let's get our original. Now we're going to work with our holes on the right hand side. And we're going to put our remember card at the very top, the 3x4 one. Does it matter if the opening is on the front or on the back? It does not. I just do it however I grab it. And we're going to put a picture right here in the second space. And in the third space, we're going to use this card, the gray card with a darker gray rectangle, and then we've got the white square here. Now, I opted to put a 3x3 photo on this one. Let me pull this out for you. See how I did a 3x3 photo here? You could also do, I believe this is 2.5 by 2.5 square. You could also put that size photo. It's up to you. So that's going to go in the third spot. And then in the fourth spot, we're going to take out that, remember that leftover piece of clover green 3x4 card? We're going to take it out and we're going to add the die cut to it. So the die cut that we're using is this circle die cut with the trees on it. Go ahead and punch that out. Now you can choose to put it on the light or the dark side of your clover paper, okay? Doesn't matter. It's personal preference. I'm going to trim my chads off again. So you should have one piece of cut paper that's left besides that white daisy that we just cut, the clover green, and you're going to adhere this in the center of the green. Okay, doesn't matter light or dark, doesn't matter if you punch the hole out or not. So go ahead and attach that to the green clover paper. Then on the other side, we're going to attach our connected card. And we're going to center it so you should have 1/2 inch on each side. So go ahead and add that to your green clover. Okay, so we've got the trees on one side and the connected on the other side. And then we're going to put it in the fourth spot of our 3x4 Pocket Plus and tree side up. So that's our front side. We've got the remember card that we cut down. We're going to have a place for a picture. Then we have our gray and white card that we can add either a 3x3 or a 2.5 by 2.5, and then our clover with our trees. Then on the back side, so now your holes should be on the right hand side, we're going to do a photo at the top. We're going to do our change card next, and we are going to punch out the 2 stars in the die cuts. And because I'm going to journal on this page, their placement does not need to be exact. And I just clean mine up a little, plus it gives you a little extra time to find them. And either some glue dots or your adhesive will hold these, just to give a little extra to my little journaling page. I'm going to put my 2 little stars on there, and then that will go in the second slot. Then we're going to do a photo here. And then we've already done our 4th position, the connected card. So at the top we have a photo. We've got the change card with our 2 die cuts on it. We've got another photo, and then we have our back side of our clover that says connected. Okay, so hopefully you're done with that one. Now we're going to move on to our 4x6 Pocket Plus. Now on this one, and a couple places actually on the 4x6, I've actually attached the die cut to the photo. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and punch that out. Oh, look, I just realized my magnets grabbed a hold of my rings there. We're going to punch that out, and I'm just going to put it in my top pocket to remind myself to put it in the picture later. You have the guide there, so keep that with your finished project if you don't know what photos you're going to put on it right away. And remember that somewhere on that picture you want to put the little photo, the little present die cut. Then the next spot, let's see if I can spread this out a little here. Let me just take it out of the rings for a second. Actually, maybe we'll just do it like this. It's kind of hard with that other one poking through. We'll do it like this. So we're working on this one right here. We want to take that 4x6 white daisy cardstock, okay, that we've already cut. And actually, you could have probably even taken, if you wanted to, the grid paper. Actually, if you didn't want to cut the white daisy, you could use up one of these cards as well, unless you want to save these for another project. But what we want to do is we want to put our 5 things card to the left. So grab that 5 things card, and we're going to adhere it to the left-hand side. Go flush all the way around. Okay, and then on this side, we're going to put a photo. Okay, so I took my white daisy rectangle, a 4x6 piece of cardstock, or if you wanted to use up one of these cards, because you're not going to ultimately see the card. Okay, so if you decide I'll never use this or I'll never use this, they are white on the back. You could always do that too. But I attached the 5 things card, and then I'm going to put a photo on this side. Okay, so that's going to go on our second slot. These are a little tight. Okay, then for our bottom, we're going to put another photo, and we're going to put a tag. So we're going to take this star tag. Again, you can choose to punch the hole out of it if you'd like. Attach a ribbon if you want. I'm just going to leave mine in, and I'm going to just put it in there to remind myself that it goes on this photo. The nice thing about this is that if it works out better that the tag looks better on the left than it does the right, you can always do that. Same thing with your present. You don't want to be covering up someone's face or something that's important in your picture, but it does give a little, pulls the whole thing together, keeping the pattern going throughout. Okay, so we've got the photo at the top with the present. We've got the 5 things card and a present on the right. The 5 things card and a picture on the right. Maybe it's a picture of presents. And at the bottom, we're going to have another picture with our star tag. And then we're going to flip it over. Again, we're going to have another picture with another tag. So let's get out our stripe tag. the very top of your punch outs here. We're gonna cut this down, or not cut it down. I'm gonna cut the little bumps off of it, and I'm just gonna drop it in here to remind myself to add it later. Then we've got a photo, and then we're gonna take our love card, and we're going to attach our cross, black and white crosshatch heart to the bottom. Okay, again, if you want to punch out the hole, you can. If you don't want to, that's great. I'm not going to do mine either. I'm just going to pop him on the bottom there. Pop it on the bottom. The nice thing about this one is if you wanted to, you could put a photo here on the side and some journaling on the side, or I'm going to just do journaling because I've got the 2 photos above. So I'm going to go ahead and put my heart on now so that I know exactly where to write and still leave room for the heart. So that's going to go there. So at the top we have a photo. We're going to put our striped tag on the photo once we have it. Then we have another photo here, and then we have our love card here, and we've attached the black and white crosshatch heart to it from our die cuts. Okay, so that takes care of our Pocket Plus pages. Okay, well, in my excitement to work with our storytelling cards, totally forgot that we were doing the 8.5 by 11 page. So let's get back to the 8.5 by 11 page. I'm so sorry about that squirrel and bling that just went by, but I was distracted, but let's get back on track. So our first 8.5 by 11 page is the black with the green that you've put on top of it. It actually, before we finish, yeah, it looks just like this, because where I had white on here before for the photo, I don't have the white on here because we don't have the white to put on here. But I've already glued this down because I've recorded this once, and then I realized that my videotape was not recording, my camera was not recording, so we're going to walk through it together. So you should have the one Traditions card left that we cut down, and we're going to go to our die cuts, and we're going to get the "'Tis the Season to be Jolly." It's on the right hand side. Okay, punch that out. And what I did was I ran some tape runner just across the bottom of my Tradition card and adhered it directly to the trees, but not to the green clover paper, because we're going to slide a photo in there, and I don't want to have my Tradition card glued down and then I have to peel it up. So once I get my photo down, we can glue down the rest of the Tradition card. But for right now, let's just run our tape runner across the bottom, just one strip across the bottom, and adhere it so it overlaps on the trees and it does not glue to the clover cardstock. Then we're going to take the "'Tis the Season to be Jolly" tag that we punched out and glue it right on top of the white card, centered right above the Tradition card at the top. So go ahead and do that. I didn't punch my hole out on this one. Again, if you want to add ribbon, or if you want to do some paper ribbon with our leftover scraps, you can easily do that. So that's how we're going to finish up the front of this card, this page. Okay. Make sure everybody's is caught up, since I'm in all these directions. Okay, then what I want you to do is I want you to get out the other 8.5 by 11. That's going to be this white piece that we've put the trees at the top and the bottom. We are going to punch out the white die cut that was right below the "'Tis the Season to be Jolly" tag that we just punched out, as well as go ahead and punch out that polka dot heart in the bottom right hand corner. Get those out, and then I'm going to go ahead and trim mine up a little bit. You don't have to if you don't want to. Again, I didn't punch out my little circles, but if you'd like to, please feel free to do so. And then we're going to put this white tag in the bottom right hand corner. just above the trees. I left a little bit of the white space between. This is going to be a journaling page, so position and where we put the glue is not as important as where we are getting ready to put photos, and we wanted to make sure we didn't put adhesive where our photo needs to slide in. So this is going to go in the bottom right hand corner, and then our heart's going to go up here in the upper left hand corner. So go ahead and adhere those. And now we can get out our page protectors if you haven't done it along the way. So I have my 8.5 by 11 page protector. Going to put the green facing page in the front, the white page in the back. My holes are on the left hand side, and we're just going to put those like that. So now you have the 8.5 by 11 together. Let's see, we've got our 6 by 6. So if you haven't already put that in its page protector, get out your 6 by 6 page protector. Flip that over. 6 by 6, and then our 6 by 6 page is a single sheet. I know we had 2 for the 8.5 by 11, but we're going to have a single sheet for the 6 by 6. Santa goes in the front, Jingle Bells is in the back. So our holes are on the left. And we're just going to slide him in. Flip him over. Then next we have our 3 by 4 Pocket Plus page. Okay, he's already done. We've already put it's already done. We've put everything in it. Then we want to get the 4 by 6 one. Let's see if I can find mine in my mess over here. There it is. Our 4 by 6. Remember, we got the present in the front, the 5 things in the front. Flip him over. And then finally, we can take our layout and put it in its 12 by 12 page protector. Of course, it's a single sheet. So holes on the left-hand side, just slide that right in. So that when we're all done here, this is what it's going to look like. So you've got your 8.5 by 11, you've got your 6 by 6, your 3 by 4 Pocket Plus, your 4 by 6 Pocket Plus, and finally your 12 by 12 page. Now our page protectors, no matter which ones you're using, 8.5 by 11, 6 by 6, the Pocket Plus, 12 by 12, they are all pre-punched, and they do fit in ring binder, 3-ring binder, or post albums. So no matter what your preference is. So next we're going to talk about why I decided to make this our project for today. Now I'd like to talk to you a little bit about why I chose this project for the Make It, Make It Take today and show you the example that I've done with the pages. One of the things that I think a lot about when I scrapbook is, why do people scrapbook? And there's a lot of different reasons that people scrapbook. Some people like the creative outlet. Some people are trying to make sure that they save the stories of their families to tell to other generations. Some people want to have their pictures all in one place on some beautiful looking pages with information as to date and who's in the pictures, maybe what's going on. There's a lot of different reasons, and I think there's a lot of different ways to journal when we scrapbook. The one way that I chose for this project today is actually a product or a philosophy that has been put together by Stacy Jullian. She has done some exclusive projects with Close to My Heart. It's called Story by Stacy, and she has 3 different methods of journaling, if you'll per se. Sorry, let me get some light on here. So as I show you what I've done with my pages, I've taken each of her 3 different methods and I've combined them into one complete layout. And what we call this, what she calls this, is extended story. So this is an extended story. So you'll see in my layout, I have pictures from many different years, and what I'm trying to capture and save in my scrapbook page is my idea of tradition, which is the title of my extended story. So as you'll see on the cover here, this is my family photo that we took last November for our Christmas pictures for last year. But this picture actually says a lot more to me than this is our Christmas picture from last year's Christmas card. This 8.5 by 11, on the front I have a large photo. It's a single photo, and on the back side I have what this picture means to me. Okay, and it's deeper than, this is a picture of my family. My kids are this age and this age, and we took it in this place. So I've dug a lot deeper, and I'm going to have another segment after I'm done with our Mega Make and Take, and I'm going to go into each of these 3 different methods a little deeper so you can better understand. So I hope you'll hang out and listen just a little bit longer for that second segment. But this is actually from her workshop called Pictures I Love. Okay, so I've taken my picture, and there's several questions that I've answered that has helped me journal. This isn't not something I just sat down and it spewed out. This is from answering different questions and going through many layers of questions to get to the root of what that picture means to me, and ultimately then to share with my family. This next picture, the 6 by 6, is actually a picture of me being taken away on a stretcher almost 2 years ago. And this is actually using the format of the story starter. So I have a picture and I have a short story that goes with it that explains the reason I picked that picture for my page. Then I have my, Pocket Plus, and I've added my photos. You can see I've even added some of the stickers. Okay, I think I did that on here where I could have written in a pen, but I decided to use the stickers that you have. And then for these, I'm using the short story formula that she uses for single pictures, or I'm sorry, for a group of pictures, and that all tie together. So in my story about traditions and the holidays, I've started showing some of the traditions that our family celebrates, whether it's the Elf on the Shelf. My daughter and I go with friends each year to see the Nutcracker. My daughter dresses each year and actually dresses for the local ice rink and is in one of the characters. Shh, nobody's supposed to know if they're little kids. So if little kids are on, you don't know it's these people. Making holiday cookies. Our family, from my husband's family traditions, we actually decorate our Christmas tree on New Year's Eve. So we just have a lit tree all through the season, and then we decorate it on Christmas Eve. My daughter skates in the annual holiday skate figure skating show. We go each year out to dinner. We dress up really nice, and we go and see the lights at one of the local resorts and have dinner there. My husband always reads 'Twas the Night Before Christmas to our kids. And then we always have our Christmas tree. But because of this situation, we didn't have a Christmas tree this year. And so my story talks about how in 2018, our Christmas looked a little different than it normally would, because we weren't able to follow all of our traditions because sometimes life gets in the way. So my whole story, my whole extended story, talks about our family traditions, how sometimes things get in the way, sometimes traditions change, either because we've outgrown them or nobody wants to do them anymore. I get too much hesitation from the children or even my husband, or because the opportunities still aren't there, but how we do have traditions that we do carry on year after year after year. So this is the extended story by Stacy Jullian. It is one of our how-to books. And so if you're familiar with our how-to books, we have how-to books on that are page sketches. But this is Ty's page sketches, our love of color, and the Stacy Jullian story starter program, short story program, Stories I Love, and then you take all 3 and combine them into an extended connected story. Okay, so if you have not done the individual programs, short story, Stories I Love, or story starter, I hope you stay tuned for my next segment, because I'm going to go into depth a little bit deeper. Now, I don't do this for all my scrapbook pages. No way. This is very intense. It is a process. If you don't enjoy journaling, I can see you being hesitant and going, well, that's not for me. I'm not a big fan of journaling, but Stacy walks you through all of the steps and shows you how to get to this whole page. We start out simple, we grow, and then ultimately we can actually take a picture and really dig deep into the, not only the who, why, where, the normal things that you're used to, but things like what's happening in the photo. Why is this photo special to you? How does this photo make you feel? So again, I don't do it for everything, but my team with Close to My Heart, I've named them Story Savers because I do think it's really important to share your stories, sometimes in depth, sometimes with a few sentences, but I don't think that I want all of my scrapbook pages to have a date and a place, and that's it, because I've done a disservice in my feeling, a disservice to future generations. I know that when my daughter was growing up, some of the questions she would ask me, and I had no idea. I have no idea what my favorite pie was when I was in 4th grade, but hopefully I've done enough journaling over the years to help my daughter be able to tell her daughter what her favorite pie was. So stay tuned, and I appreciate your time. Remember my specials. Dig those out. Shop at 𝐂𝐨𝐴𝐧𝐷𝐞𝐜.com. Spend $50, receive $10 in free product. Spend $100, receive $25 in free product. You can shop at either my Close to My Heart website or my exclusive store, but both can be found at 𝐂𝐴𝐴𝐧𝐷𝐞𝐜.com. Don't forget about our VIP program. Remember the special deals. I have it dated there at the bottom. All the specials, a lot of the specials that we're doing and Close to My Heart is doing, they expire at the end of this month, so the end of December. So I appreciate you being here today, and I hope you enjoyed doing the project with me. Thanks. Hello everybody, my name is Kelly Hammonds. I am a maker with Close to My Heart, and today I want to talk to you about our how-to books. Now you may know our how-to books as our page and card sketchbooks, but I want to share a little bit more with you. So first, this is our Make It From Your Heart, Volume 3. It is our scrapbooking how-to book, so page sketches. And then we also have Volume 4, which is a card maker's sketchbook. We are expecting Volume 5 any day now. It includes both scrapbooking and card making. We also have our Love of Color book 1 and 2, and these take our different palettes, or colors in our palettes, and shows you different combinations on how you can think outside of the box you may have pigeonholed yourself into. Also gives you some good card and scrapbooking ideas. So I'd like to start today with a question. Why do you scrapbook? Why do we scrapbook? Is it because it's a hobby? Is it because it's an artistic outlet? Is it so that you hope to remember moments with your kids, moments on vacation, certain events? Are you trying to preserve genealogy? I'm certain that you're including your dates, your places, and your names in your pictures or in your pages, but are you preserving the stories? Are we preserving why we took the picture? Are we preserving how we felt at the time we took the picture? Are we preserving the significance of the relationships in the pictures? Our pages don't capture taste or smell, but taste and smell can bring back memories and their stories. Let me give you an example. The smell of pumpkin pie reminds me of my grandmother, who would let me eat all the pumpkin pie I wanted as a small child and then sent me home where I would become violently ill from overeating. It is a story that's remembered by my family many times, and it's shared many times, but it's not documented anywhere. Sometimes a picture can bring back a memory and the start of those stories, or the start of many stories. Take, for example, this picture. What do you see in this picture? Do you see the cassette tapes? Do you see a band that brings back a memory? Maybe it's not even a concert memory. Let me give you an example. Right here is a cassette tape with Lionel Richie. Lionel Richie reminds me of my chorus class in middle school, where one of my classmates could play music by ear and would play Lionel Richie songs after class sometimes. That memory leads me to a plethora of other memories of 7th grade. Just about every cassette prompts a new series of memories that I probably would not have recalled if you just asked me what I remembered about 7th grade. Think of your mind as an attic. It's the place where you put all your experience and memories because you want to save them. but they are not readily available. Sometimes you have to dig through several boxes, open one, and discover something you had forgotten. So this is the storytelling I want to talk about today. Close to My Heart has partnered with Stacy Jullian to guide us while we develop our storytelling skills. I didn't wake up one morning and just have this skill. Just like anything else in life, we need to practice. We have 3 programs to help you practice. Each one comes with a step-by-step workbook plus supplies. The first is Story Starter. Here you will learn to easily access detailed memories of a person, place, or thing that you love and assemble them into a mini album that tells the whole story. Story Starter is short and simple. It's one story for one picture. Now I'm going to show you the supplies that come with the workshop. You get not only the little 4x4 booklet, but you get prompt pages, quotes, journaling pages. I don't have my finished copy because I've actually designed one of these, or I made one of these for my mother to recall different events throughout our years. But I do want to show you that you do get a nice workshop step-by-step to help you share your story. So shows you everything that you give, gives you prompts and easy to fill in lines to complete your book. Currently, we offer on my Close to My Heart website the beautiful floral album and the rainbow album. I also have in my personal inventory in my exclusive store the blue book with the heart, the solid red book, and the black and white polka dot. The second program is the short story. In short story, you build your creative intuition and storytelling skills to create an album that tells a story visually with a large group of photos and ends with a written personal story. These are the items that you get in the actual workshop. In the kit, it tells you everything you get, and of course there's step-by-step guides to fill out how to even put the album together. You're going to get some dots, black and white dots, some white twine. These are the white bases, and then you'll get a variety of scrapbook papers. They're double-sided, alphabet stickers, and some dies, and some actual sticker sheets. I have a beautiful example that I've made. My goal in making this book was to make a book of my daughter through her various years of ice skating. I wanted to show her her progression through the years, but as I started pulling pictures, I found pictures of my daughter doing many different things. And I realized through the process of filling out the workshop book that my daughter has so many more skills than ice skating. If you were to ask me about my daughter, usually my first thought says, hey, she's a figure skater, and she's a darn good one. But when I went through all my pictures, I realized that my daughter is so much more. So not only was this a wonderful learning experience for me, self-discovery, my daughter loves this book. She says it's a favorite of any book she's ever gotten. So you'll notice it's just a lot of pictures, very few words. There's no storytelling in words. It's just a visual story. And then when you get to the very end, I've summarized in one simple story what ties all of these pictures together. The third workbook in the Story by Stacy collection is Stories I Love. With this program, you will discover how to explore the memories behind the photos you treasure the most and document them with detailed stories. In your kit, you will receive, of course, the instructions like we have in all the other workshops. This one has a lot more questions to answer because we're going to start with the main details, what's happening in the photo, and then what makes this photo special to you, or what does this photo make you feel like. You're going to go through several layers of exploration as you work to draft your story. It gives you a sheet here that you can work with every single photo in the book, asking the same questions and helping to document it. She even helps you with laying out your picture. The other items that you receive are some plain white cardstock and then some pattern papers to either put your photo on or to use to document your story. So you can see some of them are lighter on the other side. There's also some quotes for your beginning or the end of your book. All of our workshops, which I haven't mentioned, do come with page protectors, so you don't need to buy extras of those. And then in Stories I Love, you also are going to receive 2 6x12 sheets of stickers. Now for the month of December, and while supplies last, we also have the Christmas version, which is everything is the same except for the stickers are for the holidays. So let's show you an example. In this book, this is a book that I will not finish over a weekend in a single day. This is a book that I will add to over the years, and each photo in it is a very special treasured photo. So I've started my book with my quote, and then I have my photo, and through going through all the layers of the questions and digging deep to really get to why this picture means so much to me. Why is it a treasured photo? I was able to document what's behind this photo. Now, I've only shown you this one example. I do have others. I don't have them in the book. But this is a book of treasured photos where you're going to discover layers on how your picture makes you feel and what makes it so special. Okay, now you don't have to keep buying the workshops as you practice the skills. Of course, you can use our supplies in our album. We have the 6x6 that work really well with the short story 6x6 size. We have it in wisteria, and this is green apple. We also have a scarlet color. They are 1-inch albums with O-rings. Then we have the 6x8 albums, which work really well with Stories I Love. They come in black, sapphire, which is not here, julep, which I don't have here, and candy apple red. That's on my Close to My Heart website. And then if you'd like the Bashful album, I have a few of those still in stock on my exclusive store at 𝐂𝐨𝐴𝐧𝐷.com. Each Story by Stacy program teaches you writing tools that you can use in any scrapbooking program. In another one of our how-to books, Storyteller, a Story by Stacy how-to book, all 3 programs are brought together for you to reference in one place. We have the Story Starter. Again, it walks you through the steps on how to put together a Story Starter album. It does not give you the prompts with the fill-in blanks, but you can always write that down on regular paper. Gives you some beautiful examples. It does include some of our other how-to books, like our Sketchbook Volume 3 for scrapbooking, and our Love of Color book, so it incorporates everything into one place. Here's the short story, and here is Stories I Love. So not only does it show you how to build those pages and build that journaling for you, but it gives you some beautiful examples as well. In this book, there is one additional tool, Extended Story. Extended Story shows you how to apply all the programs in any sized format, including 8.5 by 11 and 12 by 12. To help accommodate this, we also sell 8.5 by 11 albums in charcoal and ballerina. These are O-ring albums with 1-inch spines. We also sell a variety of 12 by 12 books. We have 2 different ways you can buy them. One is an O-ring 12 by 12 with a 1.5-inch spine that come in Bluebell, our color of the year, and julep. And then the My Legacy albums, which come in both postbound and D-ring. They come with a 2.5-inch spine. Currently, they come in 6 different colors, but I recommend that you check out my website, 𝐂𝐨𝐴𝐧𝐷.com, and go to my Close to My Heart store to see the current variety that we carry in both the postbound and the D-ring. Sometimes you have more photos than will tell the whole story in a 12 by 12 layout. That's why we like Extended Story. When we have that situation, we utilize this book to tell the extended story. In order to facilitate that, we also offer our Memory Protector Combo Pack, which will give you a variety of our different page protectors, including a 12 by 12, one 8.5 by 11, one 6 by 6, and 2 different Pocket Plus page protectors. We call our extended story a connected story when the most interesting and compelling stories often involve some kind of connection where what you have experienced is compared and contrasted to another person, place, or time. One example is when you back up and look at the past through the lens of one particular thing. Now, in our storytelling how-to book, Stacy does an excellent job of describing this. She has created a connected story using watermelon. So she takes watermelon and looks at it over the years and how it's had different connections throughout her family, whether it was her grandparents, with her children, special events. She has made a connected story and has explored different traditions and different practices that her family has observed over the years. Stacy walks you through how to document these connections. Now I'd like to share with you one of my extended stories. This is a layout that I did, and I've combined the 3 different types of storytelling that I learned by applying Stacy's techniques. So the first page of my extended album, my extended layout here, is a family photo. And it looks like any other family photo. Actually, this was for our Christmas card a year ago. But this is a very special photo for me for many different reasons. And when I apply the different processes to go through the different layers, I applied actually the Stories I Love technique. So this is a single photo, but then a significant amount of journaling. And this doesn't just say my family stood out in our driveway and took a family photo. It actually talks about why this picture is significant and the different layers and why it has such meaning for me. The next picture here in my extended story is actually a picture of me on a stretcher. 2 years ago, I hit my head on the ice at the ice skating rink, hit my head pretty hard, had a bad concussion, ended up in the ICU. I actually applied the short story storytelling for this one because it's a single picture, and here is the story. I actually applied the story starter method for this picture because on the back side of my layout I have the story that goes with that picture. It's a little bit longer than what we do in the short story because in the short story we have a lot of pictures with one documentation, one story told, whereas in our story starter, we have one picture, one story, one picture, one story. So that's the method I use for this one. Then as you look through the rest of the layout, this is where I actually use the short story. So I have lots of pictures, and just a little bit of writing. Now, if I'd done the true short story, I wouldn't have any writing except for maybe here at the end. But I did intermingle just a little bit of writing. I didn't document every single photo. At the end here, I have a 12 by 12 layout, and I kind of mixed a little bit of the story starter and the short story. So I have these connected photos, so it's more short story concept with a story, you know, the write-up of the story of how these are all connected. I also think of it a little bit as part of a story starter because I have these 2 main photos that I talk about in this picture right here. So you can mix and mingle them. You don't have to use them all. You can use a little bit more of one kind than the other. The important part is to take the time to do the process, to think about the pictures, to apply the techniques that we learned from Stacy Jullian, and to get these stories into your albums. We know that even the most beautiful and protected scrapbooks filled with stunning photos and pages can lose value in one generation if the stories we remembered aren't part of the process. Each time you practice the writing skills included in this book, your confidence as a storyteller will grow. You will discover new ways to write and include your invaluable perspective in everything you create. Stories are what make scrapbooks truly valuable. So I hope today I've been able to impart to you the different methods by Stacy Jullian and her wonderful, wonderful programs that she shared with Close to My Heart, not only in the individual workshops, but in her Storyteller, A Stories by Stacy how-to book. Thanks for joining me today, and I hope to see you soon. Thanks.